now we are going to make cabbage fufu. Last time we made the cauliflower fufu. Now, what you can see here is we have two halves. So 2 halves of white cabbage. I suggest you use white cabbage and not the normal one, because nobody wants to be eating fufu that looks green, right? I mean, pounded yam doesn't look green, it looks white. So this is specifically, as you can see here, it says white cabbage. So if you want to make this, buy that one. And then again, 2 ingredients, which is the cabbage and psyllium husk. Psyllium husk is all natural. It's from a plant called psyllium plant, and it's used to bind the ingredients together. Now this cabbage is quite heavy, a lot heavier than the cauliflower. Together, these two weigh around 1.2 kilograms, whereas the cabbage weighed about 400 or so for the whole cabbage. So we're talking about roughly 3 times the weight here. So what we'll do is we're going to stick to the same proportions as we did with the cauliflower with the psyllium husk. So for 1 cauliflower previously, we used 1 tablespoon, which is 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk. For the cabbage, because we have 2 of these and it's 1 cabbage and it weighs around 3 times the single cabbage, we're going to use around 3 tablespoons of psyllium husk. I mean, in fact, we'll make it 4. You could use 3 or 4, but we'll use 4 here because we've got 2 halves here. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this and cut it up and put it into the blender, and then we'll move to the next step. Okay, so there you have it. I've sliced up the cabbage and I'm going to put it in the blender and add some water to the blender. And after that, we'll strain it out with a cloth, with a sack actually. Okay, there you have it. I've put the cabbage, this is half, the other half is here. I put it into the Ninja blender, which again, I said can slice up anything, and that's what we're doing here. And it doesn't matter how much water you put in here because you're going to strain it out anyway. It's just to help it blend quicker. So we're going to switch the blender on now. Okay, there you have it. That's half of 1 cabbage. Now we're going to put the other half. Okay, so I've loaded it with the other half of the cabbage and we're going to switch that on now. I've added some more water. Again, it doesn't matter how much water you put. Should be all done now. Now if you look at that, we just have pureed cabbage, basically exactly the same as we did with the cauliflower. And then we're going to pour that into this sack. I've used a sink because actually a lot of water will be coming out of this, and we'll capture what we can in the bowl, then we'll squeeze it out. This is really good because it ensures that you only capture cabbage. Another thing you can do is just you can put extra water, because anyway it's all going to be strained out because of the sack. So I'll put extra water and pour this in now. Now check this out. That's full of water, right? So what we're going to do now is squeeze it all out until you only have cabbage in there. And if you look here, I'm squeezing all of the cabbage water out. Again, you can use this water for something else. I mean, it's healthy, it's just cabbage water, but I'm going to pour it out for this. And we almost just have cabbage in here. Now check this out. We're going to now empty this into the scales and see exactly how much the raw cabbage weighs without any water. And this is really low carbs compared to having something like pounded yam or fufu. And there you have it. You wouldn't believe it. This weighs pretty much the same as the 2 cauliflower heads. So I guess if this is 1 whole cabbage, it's equivalent to 2 cauliflowers. So in that case, what we'll do is we can add 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk because the weight is very similar now to the 2 cauliflowers. So I would say 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk here. Ignore what I said before, because last time we had 2 cauliflowers, so 1 cabbage, 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk. Now remember, this isn't cooked yet, so we have to put it into the pot. Pan is hot. We put it into the pot and allow it to cook. Now I'm just going to turn it briefly. Remember, it needs to cook because it is just raw veg at the moment, right? So we're going to turn it, and I'm going to leave it before putting the psyllium husk, I will leave it for another 3 minutes with the lid on top so it can steam up and cook. So here I've put around just over 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk. 1 tablespoon is about 5 grams. And I'm going to pour this in. As you can see, this is all steaming up now, so the cauliflower's pretty much finished steaming. So I've taken off the lid, it's all steamed up, and you can actually feel that the cauliflower is now soft. Before it was all hard. So this is the right time to add the psyllium husk so it can bind the ingredients together. Sorry, there I just said cauliflower, I mean cabbage. This is cabbage, of course, because we've done the cauliflower one before. So I'm adding the psyllium husk to bind the ingredients. Again, you're going to have to let this steam for a few minutes. First, just stir it in. And then once you close it, this is now going to be all binded together as one mass. So we'll leave that for another 3 minutes. One thing that's really important actually is don't let the bottom of the pan burn, otherwise you'll have dark spots in your fufu. As you can see, alright, that's been around 2 minutes. I always do this to the bottom of the pot so it doesn't stick and burn. And in the end it will come out smooth. So look at that, that's psyllium husk has really brought together the ingredients. Okay, as you can see, that pretty much looks just like fufu or pounded yam. So we'll leave that for a minute. We'll take it off the fire because it's already hot and you don't want it to overcook or to burn at the bottom. So there you have it. I basically added, it's probably about 3 tablespoons of psyllium husk in the end. I mean, it's really good. It's high in fiber and it's good for a low carb diet. So we're going to leave this covered for a few minutes off the fire and then transfer it into cling film. Okay, so I've left it for a few minutes. Now you can see it's cooked further. I'm going to now weigh the whole thing. So in the end, all the water weight's gone and it only weighs 405 grams, which isn't much. And then as you see, a good result is when the pot is clean, nothing's burnt, and you can't see any burnt particles on this cabbage fufu. And there you have it, we're done. 2 wraps of around 202 grams, 405 for the 2 of them. And this is the final result. Looks good, right? This is cabbage fufu, very high in fiber and low in carbs. Good for the keto diet or any low carb diet.